my name's Ellie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my Japan experience. I travelled there 3 years ago, 2019, in their summer, so it was hot. And I travelled there for about 2 weeks with my school at the time, and it was really fun, and I want to tell you just things you didn't know about Japan and basically my experience there. I also want to say that this is not my normal setup. This is my sister's room. I'm just using it because she has nice lighting at this time of day. I've tried filming this video so many times. Insert me trying to film different videos. Let's see if this is focused. Today I'm going to just put a... Good morning. This is my hair, as you can see. But I thought like story times are kind of more easy to film. For me, I like doing story times. Well, I'm just going to jump into it. Okay, so I'd never traveled like long distance before, like especially not, it's like the 7 or 8 hours to Tokyo, and I had the worst headache. Like it was something to do with the altitude and my ears, and I was not traveling well, and I vomited up my entire lunch into a vomit bag. I got up and I was holding the vomit bag. I didn't know what to do, so I went to like the hostess, and she was like, oh, just give it to me, and she just flushed it down the toilet. So, but then after we like landed, I was fine. We got to Tokyo in the afternoon to night, and then we caught a really long bus to where we were staying. The first night we actually went to an Italian restaurant, like underground Italian restaurant. It was really random that we wanted to go to Italian. Since we were in Japan, we thought we were going to go get ramen or sushi or, you know, like any like Japanese cuisine. That was one thing I was really surprised about, was the prices of everything. Like all food prices are so cheap. Also, the first night after we had Italian, took some photos and like walked around and shopped and stuff. We went to Japan in the Japanese summer. We turned on the aircon and like we woke up like sweating, like my whole bed was covered in water, like from sweat. And we realized that we had put the heater on instead of the aircon. So that was our first mistake. Lost about 2 kilos that night, just out of sweat. On the first day, we stayed in Tokyo. We actually went to Harajuku, which is like the fashion capital of Japan. And it was so cool, like seeing everyone's clothes. I felt right at home because I love to dress kind of eccentrically, if you can say that, but yeah. We went to markets. I can't remember which markets they were. We went to a temple. I'll put the name down below here. I'll put the name of a few places because I don't want to butcher any names. We went to a cat cafe. That night we went shopping again. And I'll put all types of photos in here because I have so many photos from this trip. Where we went to this vintage secondhand shop, but it was like 3 stories tall. So like there was a massive spiral staircase going up like the side of the building. And we were walking up, just doing our thing. My friend was wearing a skirt, and like I just looked down, and there was like a man like looking up. It was kind of creepy, and he was just like looking up, and I like assumed he was looking at my friend's skirt, and like we just ran up them super fast, and that was a whole creepy experience right there. And then like we waited till like we were in the shop for a while, and then like looked back down the staircase to see if he was still there because that shit's creepy. The second day was still in Tokyo, and we went to Disney World. Disney World is so cool. I can't even stress that enough. It's like a whole vibe. We had like a waffle burger, and like the animatronics at Disney World are insane. We actually saw the teachers there. Like there was 2 teachers that came on the trip, and they were like, stick with us. We get all the fast passes, and like we've been here before, so I know what to do first and everything. So we're like, okay, because I'd never done much like research to Disneyland, Disney World, what type of rides they have. So I was like really scared. We went to Space Mountain first. It was all enclosed. It was all under shelter. It was all covered, so I couldn't see it. So I was really anticipating a huge drop. And like the teachers were building me up like in the line, and I was really scared. I'm terrified of roller coasters. Like, and then we got there, and they had the bar, and it wasn't like a seatbelt or anything, and they just put it on us. I was like, okay, then it's not that much of a drop. I think it should be okay. And it was fine. It was fun. It was a tiny drop. For anyone who's been to Disneyland or Disney World, you understand it's not that much of a drop. It's a fun experience. And like kind of all the rides are like kids type of rides. Like there's no really scary ones. Then the fireworks at night, we like went to the Disney castle, and like it was I just loved it. It was such a happy day. The haunted mansion was probably one of my favorites, along with the Peter Pan ride. And their Winnie the Pooh animatronics were fucking crazy. Like I've never seen anything like it. Like technology advanced. The next day, it was a travel day to go to Mount Fuji. And so basically we just took a bunch of trains. It took like almost the whole day. Then we got dinner at some restaurant, and my friend got Italian again, and I got ramen this time. I think it was seafood ramen, and it was so delicious. I was stuffed. Then we got back to the hotel room, like, and then it was like time to like chill out, rewind. It was pretty gloomy the few days that we were in the Mount Fuji area. So it was like making everyone sleepy. There was a massage chair on our level, and there was a vending machine full of beer and alcohol. We snuck around to the vending machines and got out a few beers. They were like huge beers, and they were like a high percentage too. We like looked it up on Google and got a little bit drunk and did some face masks. So that was a good time. We went on the roof, and there was a bath out on the balcony full of rocks and everything. I went in with some of the other girls, and it was really fun. It was basically like being at a spa, but yeah, you have to make sure that you wash off before and after you get out of the baths, because you know, you've got to get all the dirt off you, and it's respectful to everybody else. The next day, which was the 4th day, we had like a breakfast buffet at our hotel. We had like we had a breakfast buffet at a lot of the hotels, and it's really funny to see what they thought the like westernized buffets would be. Like there was eggs, and then there was like french fries and chicken and all that, like for a breakfast, which I thought was very cute and like quite funny. The next day we were in Mount Fuji. We didn't stay on Mount Fuji. I don't think you can even do that. And we didn't hike it either. We could actually not even see it because there was cloud covering it all. We went to this village, and I'll insert the name. It's like it was an abandoned village. It was near the suicide forest, so it was like a little bit morbid since we were so close to it, and it's like that has such a rich history. For all you guys that know about the suicide forest, you know. Are you okay? My dog's choking. Are you okay? I missed out a few things about that village. The actual village got flooded quite a few years ago, and that's why it was abandoned, and that's why it was pretty sad going to that village anyways, because of the history behind it. It's good to learn about all these things. Missed out that we bought like a samurai costume. Not bought, rented. Like you can rent them in the village and to take photos with them, so I'll put them in here. I think it was the same day we went on the cable car up a mountain close to Mount Fuji to kind of get a look at it. We still couldn't see it really. I have taken photos, but there's cloud coverage. Like we couldn't see Mount Fuji until right as we were leaving the next day. Like I was the last one to get the shuttle bus, me and my friend, because it was taking it rounds, and we were like the last ones at the hotel waiting for the shuttle bus, and the clouds finally moved, and I snapped a shot of it. If I can find it, I will put it in here. I also want to say, I said gloomy, but like it was like a seaside village. It was so cute, so calm, that area, and I really enjoyed that part of the trip because it was like a slowed down vibe compared to like the chaos of like the city and everything. So yeah. The next day we traveled to Hiroshima. We went to like this cutest little hotel, when the lady that was running it, she like wrote our names on the whiteboard and said welcome. Oh, she was so cute, and she cooked the breakfast the next morning, like the buffet breakfast. She was so sweet. We went to the bomb museum, which was really sad, and we also went to talk to a survivor of the attack, and that was really sad too, but it was really interesting to hear the history of where we were. The next day we went to Deer Island. I had the best udon there, and lots of ice cream. We went to a dog cafe, and we were sitting outside, and I was eating either ice cream or shaved ice. A freaking deer came along. I was wearing like a wrap top, and it undid my top, and you know, my bra was just out, it was just hanging loose, and I was trying to undo it, and then it was trying to get into my bag. It was a whole situation. The next day we tried to travel to Kyoto, which we were staying for the rest of the trip, but there was a typhoon. Yeah. Mass flooding, alarms going off, so we were literally stuck at the train station, at the bullet train station, for 6 hours. It was a really long day that day. We actually had to stay in Osaka, which we didn't plan on staying. Like, we didn't even know if we were going to have accommodation because we could not get to Kyoto because the train lines were flooded. But we eventually found a place, and it was actually the best apartment that we stayed at the whole time we were in Japan. I've never heard like big alarms like that, like going through a city, which was quite scary, but nothing ever happened in my area at least. The next day, we went to the cup noodle factory, and that was really fun because like you got to make your own, like customize your own cup noodles and just kind of learn the history of noodles. And that was like the original cup noodle factory, and like you probably see cup noodles in all of your like grocery stores and everything. But yeah, that was really cool. I made like a chicken seafood one, which was a weird combination with like a little bit of chili. And then we went to this place, and I was really annoyed this day because we were doing things constantly. After every single day, like we'd start our mornings at like 7 a.m, 6 a.m, do so much travel and walking and heat and everything, and like I kind of wanted to know what was happening in our days. Only like the teachers knew what we were doing in the days. So like I asked, are we doing much walking this day? And the teacher said, no, we're not. So I wore jeans, and we went up this massive, massive mountain. We hiked, and I was not wearing the proper attire. I was sweating balls. So after that, we went shopping again, and I had fried rice. I just remember the fried rice being so good. And I took some photos, and I was wearing like a really cool dress I got off Depop, and I had to wear these like sneakers with it because I had brought like Converse and maybe Docs, but I had not broken them incorrectly. So I was literally wearing like my running sneakers everywhere. It did not match my outfit, but I literally did not care at that point. My feet hurt, so I was gonna wear whatever and make it work, because that's what a bitch does. The 9th day, we went to Osaka for the day, so we went back to Osaka to go to Universal Studios, and that was definitely a vibe too. They're like bigger rides, they're like actually roller coasters, so I was like kind of nervous about it because, you know, I was like, oh, when I go to Japan, I'm going to go on the roller coasters, but it didn't really end up happening because I saw them. I saw the Jurassic one, and you literally go up like that, and then your head is fully towards the ground when you go down the first hill, and I just couldn't. I heard the screams, and I didn't need to do that. I could see it. But when we first got there, we got there really early because we wanted to beat crowds, and to get into Harry Potter World, you have to get in there early or you're not going to go in there for the day. As the gates open, as we were let in, we literally sprinted across the park to Harry Potter World and got in line for the ride. And that was the best ride I've ever been on in my whole entire life. Even though it was all in Japanese and I couldn't understand what the characters were saying, it was really, really fun. And I suggest going to that. I don't even know if you're in America, if you're in Japan, go to Harry Potter World in Universal Studios because it is so fun. And then we had all the Harry Potter food as well, and I was really tempted to buy a wand, but it was actually quite expensive, so I just got a big chocolate frog instead. I went on the Spider-Man ride twice because there was zero line for it, and it was just fun. We went to Jurassic World, and then the parade at the end was so magical. I want to be a parade actor. They looked like they were having the time of their lives. They were on like carts, there was like a Transformers, there was like Harry Potter obviously. I would just like sit back and it was like turning into night, and I just like realized in that moment that I was like, I was at a different country. Like, I don't know, I had some type of deep realization at where I was, and I felt really grateful to be there that night, and that was like one of the best days. The 10th day, we just went to a few more temples, and we went to this place where we didn't go to the Kyoto Tower, but we went to this place where you could see it, and we took a bunch of photos. That's what we did that day. On the 11th day, which was the last day, we went to a golden temple, and I'll put the actual name here, and the Monkey Mountain, the Monkey Park, and this was the hottest day out of the whole trip. It was a long travel, like, to get to these places, and then like a long walk to get from the bus over the bridge and then up the mountain. I was gonna quit like 4 times walking up the mountain. My friend Jean, she was like, come on Ellie, you can do this, like we can walk up this thing, like come on. And I was like, fine, whatever, I can do it. We made it to the top. I took a few photos with some monkeys. Some of them were quite scary, not gonna lie, but they were all like mainly at the top where the cages, they weren't in the cages, we were the ones in the cages. The flight back was pretty easy. It was overnight, and I think it like made a difference to me because I wasn't having like a mad headache and like the blaring sun through the windows. It was like night and cruisy and like quite cool in the airplane. I want to talk about a few of the things that you might not know about Japan really quickly to end this video. The toilets, amazing, 10 out of 10. I wish I had a bidet in my house because once you get some water up your ass, you can never go back. 7-Eleven and Family Mart are so, well, Family Mart is like a 7-Eleven, it's a convenience store pretty much, and I just loved the food there. I got so many meals from 7-Eleven because it was like full meals and they were like healthy and they were like cheap. So that's why Japanese people are so healthy, is because they have things like noodles and rice balls and seafood and like proper meals at 7-Eleven for like $2 Australian. Vending machines everywhere, which I think everyone says, and like vending machines with every type of thing in it. Cigarettes, alcohol, drinks, utensils even, absolutely everywhere. We were literally in the middle of nowhere in Mount Fuji, and there was a vending machine on the side of the road. And I got myself an ice cream bar because I deserved it. So much city. I literally have never seen that amount of city. Like just looking across, that was kind of like a shock when I first was on the bus going into Tokyo. It was just so much city. I've never seen that. Like I'm from Brisbane, and it's like there's like a tiny little bit of city, like you're in the city for 2 minutes if you're driving through it and then you're out. But that was something I had to get used to. Oh yeah, you carry the trash everywhere and you don't really walk around and eat either. Like people in Japan don't do that. There's like seating in 7-Elevens and stuff, and there's like no bins around, so everyone just carries their trash. That's why it's such a clean city, because everyone carries their trash around and just chucks it out when you go home. And I thought that was really interesting, and they're really ahead of the curve in that aspect. And the Japanese are super efficient, basically future but mixed with culture and tradition. The Japanese are really great at customer service. You will not meet a rude person in customer service there. And then the train etiquette. You just keep to yourself and you don't be loud on trains, because a lot of people just fall asleep anywhere. I know that's kind of a part of like the toxic kind of aspects of the Japanese culture, is like the work ethic. Kind of heartbreaking to see, because people literally fall asleep anywhere, side of the street, on the train, in the shops, literally anywhere they fall asleep, and that's just because they work so hard. Be quiet on the train because people are trying to sleep and mind their own business. I just want to clarify, when I said toxic traits of the Japanese culture, I'm not saying it as a person looking above and being like, oh, well, your culture, but no, I'm not, because there's toxic traits in every single culture, and it's okay to point them out. I'm not pretending like I'm above it. It is a very real problem in Japan, the work ethic and social pressure on jobs, and you can bring those issues up.
and talk about them and spread awareness. So that's why I added that little part in. It's not me saying I'm better than the Japanese culture. Definitely not. I respect it and I admire the Japanese culture too. So I just want to say that.
That's all I wanted to talk about. That was my trip. I had a really great time and I want to go back without school or anything. I'm out of school now. So when we're allowed to travel again, and probably after I go to Europe, I'm going to go back to Japan for the winter months because I don't think I'll ever go back there when it's that hot again. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. I'm going to be putting out more videos now because I want to. And I have so many stories and so many just topics I want to talk about movies and books. So get excited for new videos and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!